At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Well, happy Friday to you all. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Weather in NorCal, you're watching Coffee with Krueger. Good start to your day. And let me tell you something, those winds that have been kind of just sticking around the last few days, we got one more day. It's going to be not as bad. We're kind of on the back end of this wind event, and things are going to improve with the winds, and not to mention temperatures. Gorgeous this weekend, which we'll get into. I want to thank John Purvis for sending in this image through, yes, the Weather NorCal app. This is a view from McDowell. I love to hear from everybody, right? But I also love to hear from a lot of you that are in the outlying communities, the coast. This is extreme north Siskiyou County. And John has been a viewer, and I certainly appreciate that. Out towards Modoc County, love hearing from you. Love hearing from you in the Eastern Mountains, Susanville, Janesville, Bernie, Shingletown, you know, the works, right? And of course, I love to hear from everybody in the valley as well. It's just beautiful. I mean, you can go anywhere in our area and take a picture, and it's going to be a gorgeous shot no matter what. That's what I love about this area. That's what I think everybody loves about this area as well. You can, of course, check out a way to send your images, share your photos with the free Weather NorCal app from your iPhone, from your Android. Just go to your app store, or for Android, the Google Play Store. Search for Weather NorCal and download the app for free. It's a great place to, of course, get your weather information. It's local. It's backed up by me, who's been here for 25 years. And of course, it's just a great, reliable source of information. And it's a great place for you to share those photos. And the best place to do it, by the way. It's just so much easier for me to have one place that I can go to find pictures. And that's always a good spot for it. Main Street, Chico, this morning looks like traffic is flowing okay. And the winds, well, I don't see that camera really blowing a whole lot in the wind here. Let's take you out to Highway 99 at Neal Road. The winds, well, they were blowing a little bit earlier this morning, but it looks like those winds have died down in some of those areas here. We take you out to, of course, this is the still image, so we can't see the camera shaking or anything like that, but this is Highway 44, Sundial Bridge Drive in Redding. You kind of look off in the distance there. The sun is just beginning to peek out. You remember before we had to change our clocks, we were at this time looking at sun kind of coming out, right? It was getting daylight. So as we start getting longer and longer days, we're going to eventually start to see the sun come back out at this hour. So that's always nice. Take a look at the wind speeds out there right now. And what we got here, yeah, strong still at the Redding Airport, 18 miles per hour. But in Chico, on the east side of the valley, not as strong. Even Red Bluff and Willows, the wind's not as strong. But there you have it, right? East of the valley, you see that? Not quite in Chester or Quincy or Bernie, but just to the south and west of those areas in those foothills and kind of working their way into the higher elevations. You've got a lot of those mountain ridge tops. You've got a lot of those mountain valleys. And within that, you see the winds really filter through that, especially when you've got the winds kind of blowing perpendicular to those mountains, that ridge there going into the valley. And that's where you can tend to see some very gusty winds. Now, with those stronger winds in Redding, it's 57 degrees. Now, it's not necessarily, you probably heard about the compressional heating that you get from the north winds. That's typically not the case. There's a little bit of that going on here this time of the year, but it's a pretty brisk north wind. The reason why it's warmer is because when you have the winds blowing, no matter how cold it is, it mixes up the atmosphere. And that prevents the temperatures from getting as cold as they could. So as a result, temperatures stay warmer for places like Redding at 57 degrees, 18 miles per hour. But much calmer winds in Chico, you're looking at much colder temperatures, 45. And of course, the wind's blowing a little bit more out towards Oroville, and not to mention west of that on I-5, with temperatures in the low 50s, 51 for Red Bluff, all the way down to Willows. And how about Susanville? We're looking at 32 degrees, 33 out in Alturas. And there you can see 28 degrees in Weaverville, 44 in Hoopa. And look at that, Eureka about 48, a little bit warmer out in Crescent City at about 56 degrees right now. So the peak wind gusts over the last 24 hours, yeah, pretty good, not good, but pretty high, right? We got close to 40 miles per hour in Redding, and that was anticipated that yesterday was going to be the event, the strongest winds. And that certainly was the case. You can see 28 miles per hour in Chico. Now, you can kind of see along the coast here, not as bad. Altura saw some pretty gusty winds at 30 miles per hour, and Susanville, 24 miles per hour the last 24 hours. We still have a wind advisory until 5 o'clock today for the valley, the surrounding foothills. This is until 5 o'clock today. And of course, to the east of that, you've got a high wind warning. And that's for the areas that you did see some of the strongest winds. Gusts are going to be strongest above 4,000 feet. And that's typical. A couple of reasons. As you go into the higher elevations, you don't have any obstacles in the way, such as trees or anything like that. But you also have thinner air, which means less friction. It allows that wind to flow more freely and faster. So as you go in the higher elevations, those winds tend to get stronger. Gusts could get up to 60 miles per hour, could see some power outages. Haven't seen any over the last few days, so the chances are going to be slimmer because, those winds are going to start to die down a bit. So let's take a look at the forecast wind speeds for today. And you can see they're blowing from the north. And then we go into the noon hour, still pretty strong, especially for the north and west side of the valley. And again, you can see those little areas of green east of the valley. That's kind of the stronger winds. And then we go into this afternoon, still breezy. But again, the winds are going to start to subside. However, as we go into the midnight hour tonight, we still have that last little push and last little streak of some gusty winds in the mountains east of the valley. But as we go through the day on Saturday, look at this. Those winds shifting more from the south now. But the key here is also winds below 10 miles per hour for everybody. And then they'll shift back out of the north a little bit here as we go into Sunday, but still not that strong. I'm going to be looking at those winds below 10 miles per hour. Can you say gorgeous weekend? I think I just heard a bunch of people say that. I think somebody did say it. Beach hazard statement. This is for today through Saturday evening. Now, sneaker waves. What are those? For those of you who live in the valley and in the mountains, you've probably never heard of this before. Maybe you have because you've been watching Weather NorCal, and I mention it whenever we have these beach hazard statements. Now, sneaker waves are this. It could be a calm day. You get these large waves, these large swells, and as they get closer to the ocean, then you get just out of nowhere, you get these big waves, this big rush of water that comes onto the beach. And it can come out of nowhere. You just don't even know it's happening. So unless you know that there's a beach hazard statement and there's sneaker waves in the forecast, you're not going to know about it until you see it. So it's one of those situations where you're hanging out on the coast or you're rock hopping right there on the coast. And suddenly that big rush of water comes in and it's a lot of water, and that can sweep you off your feet, drag you into the ocean. And if you're on those, ragged rocks, rock hopping, that can be even more dangerous, right? Because then it sweeps you under your feet and then you fall into those ragged rocks. It's not good. So this is the type of situation where if you are going to be at the beach, keep a close eye on it. Don't turn your back to the ocean, and watch the kids closely, very closely. Keep them away or be with them and make sure that they are protected from those sneaker waves. Take a look at this. Here's your weekend at a glance. Oh yes, I put a little taste of spring. Even though spring's not here till Tuesday, I wanted to give you that little taste of spring because it's going to feel that way this weekend. So we start with today. Temperatures start to climb. Sunday is going to be the peak of that. Now, this is something I mentioned yesterday, but we'll kind of revisit this. And these are the first time we hit, or from record, the earliest we've hit 90 degrees was since the late 1800s, by the way. We're looking at records that far back. It was April 6, 2016 with 93 degrees. The earliest we've ever hit 100 degrees was May 4th of 1992, 100 degrees. And the earliest we've hit 110 was June 17th, just a couple of years ago. So yeah, we're starting to get into those months where 80s, 90s, triple digits, before you know it, are going to be in the forecast. Let's take a look at some other weekends. Of course, we cover a large area here, Weather NorCal, so want to give you some other areas. Here's Weaverville in Trinity County. Yeah, maybe a nice day to, maybe a nice weekend to go for a hike. I think a lot of the trails will probably still be covered in snow, but should be gorgeous. Temperatures upper 60s, low 70s. Here's your weekend at a glance for the coast. Actually, today is going to be the peak of the warming trend as opposed to everybody else. And we do expect a bit more of a marine layer, a bit more of an onshore flow going into the weekend and early next week. That's going to allow us to see cooler temperatures as a result. And on top of that, maybe a bit more of a marine layer, maybe some more fog coming into early next week too. but still not bad. Still a gorgeous weekend. Here's Mount Shasta in Siskiyou County. Temperatures in the upper 50s today, low 60s Saturday. How about 67 on Sunday? Lots of great waterfalls out there in Siskiyou County. So this might be a good weekend to go check one of them out. Here's a look at El Turris in Modoc County. Yes, some of those colors might be coming out, might be a little early, and especially some of the higher elevations. Probably still some snow on the ground, actually. But again, just that feel of spring is out there. 60 degrees for your Saturday and Sunday, a high of 63 degrees. And there's your weekend at a glance for Susanville in the Eastern Mountains. Still a bit breezy out there today, but there, of course, you've got those sunny skies. Temperature around 60 and 64 degrees on Sunday. All right, kind of switching things up a little bit. I thought, for those of you who want to get out the door real quickly, here is your fly-through neighborhood by neighborhood forecast. And then once you see this, you got a really good thing. You got a really good idea of not only what the weather will be today, but what you can expect for the next 7 days, because I also include the 7-day forecast for all of the neighborhoods as well. You're not going to see that anywhere else, folks, especially during these fly-throughs, and with an explanation. So what I'm going to notice, I want you to notice here on the 7-day forecast on Thursday, it says a chance for showers. Depends on which long-range forecast model you look at. If you look at the American forecast model, it's saying dry all the way through this week, next week, and then maybe some rain coming in that next weekend. The European forecast model actually brings it in as early as possibly Wednesday, but more like Thursday, Friday. So I'm still calling that chance for showers on Thursday, but of course today we're not going to be talking about showers. We're just talking about the gusty winds still a little bit, especially for the south end of Trinity County today. Ruth, about 64, 59 degrees for Wildwood. Here's your North Coast neighborhood forecast, 77 degrees in Redway, 69 for Honeydew. There, of course, is that chance for showers next Thursday. There you can see Ferndale, 69, 70 in Rio Dell, and Fortuna, about 71 degrees. 69 in Arcata, 67 for Eureka. And how about Willow Creek with a high of about 74 degrees. Take you up north, Smith River, 74, 68 degrees in Crescent City. Just a gorgeous day. Today is the day on the coast that'll be the most gorgeous. It'll be the warmest, most gorgeous. Is that a word? Maybe, maybe not. Is that a phrase? I don't know. 67 degrees for Horace Creek, 64 degrees in Hornbrook, and there you can see Gazelle, a high of about 61 degrees. Scott Valley, 58, 59 out in Callahan, and there is a look at Fort Jones. You're sitting at 57 for your daytime high today. All right, now we take you off to central and eastern Siskiyou County. McDowell, about 54 degrees. Of course, you saw that image earlier from John Purvis. Thank you for that beautiful shot. So you see where McDowell is. That's where you were looking at the north side of Mount Shasta in that image. All right, there's Newell, about 55 degrees. 50 out in Fort Bidwell. Of course, this is your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. 53 degrees for California Pines, and likely we'll see a high of 56. Old Station, 52 degrees. There you can see the breezy conditions continuing. I think even the eastern mountains will see those gusty winds at times. And of course, that chance for showers coming in next Thursday. There you can see your Lake Almanor and Lassen Park forecast. Canyon Dam, about 51. Chester, 55. And if you happen to have a house there in Lake Almanor Peninsula, a beautiful spot, visited it many times. Temperature of 52, 39 degrees for Summit Lake, and south entrance about 42. Taking to the south with Paradise, about 66 degrees, 60 in Quincy, and Doyle, about 57 degrees. There's your Valley neighborhood forecast. Looking to the south here, Gridley, about 72 degrees for Los Molinos and Pasquenta, a high of 69. And we take you up to the north with Lakehead, a high of 65, 67 degrees. Out in Whiskeytown and Palisadro, about 72. And there's your 7-day forecast for Redding. St. Patrick's Day is on Sunday. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink. But I know that St. Patrick's Day is a big drinking day. It seems like a cruel joke to have St. Patrick's Day on a Sunday, the day before work. Usually you have St. Patrick's Days, I don't know. I guess it just doesn't matter. It can run on any time. But I would say that for those of you who enjoy a beverage or two on St. Patrick's Day, it's probably better for it to be on a Friday or maybe on a Saturday. But so hopefully, I'm curious what the statistics will be on how many people call in sick on Monday. We'll see. First day of spring is on Tuesday. It's going to feel like with a high of 76. We dry things out on Wednesday. And there, of course, you can see I've included that chance for showers on Thursday of next week. Well, good morning. I'm here. You're all here. How you doing? Let's see what everybody's up to this morning. Hey, by the way, you know, of course, we got a gorgeous weekend in store for us. I know I plan on doing some stuff. My son, I'm so excited. He's a freshman at Shasta High School. He's on the track team, and he has made it to the first track meet, which is on Saturday. Should be beautiful weather for the track meet. I'm looking forward to seeing how well he does, and it's just be fun to be out there on a beautiful day. But on Sunday, I'm planning on a nice hike with my wife. She tells me never to tell you where I'm going, but we are going to go on a nice hike, check out one of the beautiful waterfalls in this area. There are a lot of great waterfalls, so you can bet on Monday I'll be sharing that image, some images from my hike, and that's what I want you to do. If you have big plans over the weekend, I want you to share that with everybody. Take pictures, and I would love to have a whole big slideshow on Monday with Coffee with Krueger where we can share all of your pictures. So do that, all right? And it's easy. It's easy from the app. Good morning, Shingletown. Casey giving his daily report. Decent amount of wind, to say the least, right? Certainly has been very gusty the last few days. It's become more of a nuisance at this point now. It's like, all right, enough with the wind. Good morning, great coffee this morning. Thank you. I love weather in NorCal. Thank you. I love all of you. Hello from Maeve. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning from Valerie. TGIF from Kim Burns. That is correct. Good morning, clear and windy in Palisadro. Thank you, Dean, for the report. 33 in Alturas. I'm not sure. I think I was reporting about 33, 32 in Alturas. Here Comes the Sun. Oh, by the Beatles. Lovely tune right there. Good morning, Mike, from Bill Carlton. Well, today is Friday, as you know. We have got our segment that is sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. And we have got our Pet of the Week. Now, oh my goodness, I think you're going to fall in love with this animal, folks. Very easy to do that, especially when you're talking about a puppy. So we have got a puppy by the name of, and I believe it's after the Debbie snack, because it's Cosmic Brownie is the name. But here you go. Here is this week's Pet of the Week, sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. This is Pet of the Week, sponsored by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. We are here with Katrina from Haven Humane Society, and we have got, it was a long name.
Cosmic Brownie.
Cosmic Brownie.
To be fair, I don't think she knows it. She's only 2 months old,
Yeah.
so it can definitely be changed. So she actually has a litter of siblings that she came in with.
Oh.
Something kind of special about her actually is she was born here at the shelter. Her mom has already been adopted, which is great, and her mom was also like a German Shepherd type dog. We don't know who her dad is, but she definitely looks like a German Shepherd.
Yeah, I'd say
She's
so.
got the black and tan, but she's super sweet. And just a wonderful little puppy for anyone who's ready for a puppy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think anybody who's had a puppy knows the work that can go into it.
Mm-hmm.
There are, like you say, how many others in the litter?
There's 4 others.
Okay, so if Cosmic Brownie is gone, then there are 4 others that, of course, may still be around. So, obviously, you're going to want to check up on them. I'm assuming they all kind of look about the same?
Pretty much. She's the only like pure black and tan one. The other ones are mostly like tan, and they kind of all have a little bit of different markings, but they're all super sweet, fun, wiggly puppies. But yeah, definitely a big responsibility to take on.
But like so sweet, and seems
so
kind of,
sweet.
Probably just got up from a nap or something, or ready for a nap or something like that. But if you are interested in Cosmic, what are the adoption fees, by the way?
So for a little puppy like her, the adoption fee is $135.
Okay.
And she's already spayed and has all of her shots and everything. So she is good to go.
Good to go. You are such a cutie. You are going to be going home to someone very quickly, and of course, if not, one of your brothers or sisters as well. So if you're interested in Cosmic Brownie or any of Cosmic Brownie's siblings, call the number at the bottom of your screen to call, and of course they will take care of you right away, right?
That's right.
That is true. Well, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week for Pet of the Week. Yes, I think a lot of people are going to fall in love with that animal. I think it's going to be adopted very quickly. If you've already seen it and you're going, I want to adopt that animal, of course, call that number. I'm sure Cosmic Brownie would love to go home with you. You can always probably rename it, whatever you want. It's kind of a long name, right? But it's fun. It's fun. So what do you say we get to the forecast, shall we? And we are going to start off, of course, with Of course, recognizing our sponsor of Coffee with Krueger, and that is Wind River Resort and Casino. Because at Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's go ahead and get to those current temperatures out there right now. The winds are blowing still out at the Reading Airport. And as a result, those temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer. Because, you know, even in the winter when we're talking about this, you know, you can have just that little bit of a breeze, and that's enough to kind of mix up the atmosphere. Think of it this way. You know, like, let's say you have a glass of water, okay? So you have cold water at the bottom, but then you have warmer air, warmer water at the top. So a lot of times that warmer air will sit on top of that colder water. You know, if you know, you're sitting there at the surface and, you know, it's colder, then you take a spoon and mix it all up. That warmer air mixes in with that colder water, and then boom, suddenly you've got warmer air as a result, or warmer water. All right, hopefully that made sense, but that's kind of the same concept here. So there you can see Reading 57, again, because of those breezy conditions, much, much cooler. In Chico at 41 degrees right now. 41 in Red Bluff, 55 degrees for Oroville. 41 degrees for Redway. El Turis, of course, just got a report of 32, 33, you know, around there. Up in El Turis, 34 for Susanville. Bernie, about 24. Pretty cold there. Looks like a bit wind sheltered this morning. 27 degrees out in Mount Shasta City. And there you can see Weaverville, about 28 degrees. So here's your headlines. Winds, not as strong today. I mean, we're finally going to start to break away from the winds. It's still going to be gusty. It's still going to be that nuisance wind today. But I do expect much calmer conditions by the weekend for everybody. Everyone is going to be looking at just a beautiful weekend, not to mention temperatures getting much warmer. In fact, I'm expecting some upper 70s, and some of us may even touch 80 degrees in the valley. But next week, this is not a warming trend that's going to stick around forever. We do have a cooling trend and a pattern change in general that'll slowly occur through next week. So you can clearly see the big ridge of high pressure. And what's beginning to happen is this area of low pressure right here is kind of trying to undercut that ridge, but the ridge is so strong, it's blocking that storm from moving in. So it's pushing all that energy up to the north. You can clearly see all that. We've also got a low pressure over to our east, southeast, over Southern California, making its way into western Nevada as well, or Arizona, that is, and not to mention southern Nevada. That's the main area of low pressure right here, but high pressure is over us. So here's the overall pattern. This is something I've been talking about, and this is the last day we've got this set up. But what's happening is this. We've got that flow around the area of high pressure, and then it kind of squeezes in between that low and then gets caught up in that flow around the area of low pressure. All right, so when you have a setup like this, it's just that perfect support for gusty winds, especially coming in from the north. What's happening today, though, is as this ridge builds to the north and this area of low pressure kind of stays a little bit to the south, moves a little bit more to the south, they're moving farther and farther away. As you bring that area of low pressure and high and low pressure together, the winds get stronger. When you separate them, the winds get weaker. And that's essentially what's happening here for today. I think the winds will be strongest to our south, Sacramento, the Bay Area, but then as we start getting into the weekend, everyone's going to be looking at much calmer winds. So there's Saturday, Sunday. That ridge of high pressure kind of peaks on Saturday into Sunday. You can kind of see it's just sitting up to our north. That low pressure slowly starting to move on out. Meanwhile, the storm systems off to the west are still moving up and over that ridge of high pressure. This is a very persistent, strong ridge that doesn't want to let go. And these storms are knocking on the door and trying to really break apart at it. And they're doing it, but it's still going to take some time. And as a result, we're left with mainly sunny skies and warm temperatures. But look what happens. As we go through next week, through the middle of next week, see how that ridge is now gone? At least it's breaking apart. That's because now we've got these storms that are continuing to break apart at it. And now we're beginning to open up that door for the potential for more rain. And not to mention cooler temperatures. That warmer air shifting to the south, cooler air to the north moving in. So instead of the upper 70s, getting back down to the 60s for those daytime highs. All right, so we go into your Thursday and Friday. Depends on which model you look at. This one in particular, the American, the GFS, doesn't really bring any rain here until next Saturday. So a week from Saturday. Okay, the European brings it in as early as Thursday or Friday. So I'm kind of got to go in the middle here, and I'm going to say at least a chance for showers as early as Thursday, but for the most part, I think our best chances for rain are going to be kind of beyond that. But, you know, the timing and the intensity of all that is going to change. There's a chance that the GFS, the American Forecast Model, may kind of come on board with the European. We'll see. But for now, I don't anticipate a lot of rain through most of next week. The winds, yeah, we still have the wind advisory for the valley through 5 p.m. today, and we still have the high wind warning in some of those higher mountain ridge tops especially. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. You have thinner air, and of course it just allows that air to travel better, but we're looking at some gusty winds there, could possibly exceed 60 miles per hour. But as I mentioned, we're seeing those winds subside as that low pressure kind of moves a little bit farther away from us, and not to mention the high as well. So you can kind of see here when we look at the overall trend here for today, you're not looking at anything that really stands out as just astronomically high winds, because that's not going to be the case. I mean, we're going to be looking at, the winds gusting upwards of 30 miles per hour or so, but not as strong as they were yesterday in the valley. And then I do expect one last little push tonight around midnight in the eastern mountains of some wind before we finally see everyone drop those winds below 10 miles per hour as we go into Saturday. And the winds are a little bit more coming in from the south on Saturday, and then on Sunday they'll shift back from the north, but they won't pick up. They'll pick up a little bit, but generally below 10 miles per hour even on Sunday. So gorgeous weather. Above normal temperatures, according to the Climate Prediction Center. So even though we're seeing that drop in the temperatures are still going to be pretty mild for this time of the year. But that's what we're looking at here. We're in the lighter shades of green. The darker the shade of the green, the better the percentage of chances of seeing above normal rainfall. The lower the chances of seeing above normal rainfall. So that's what we're looking at right now, but there is that chance for rain here. It looks like toward the end of next week, into that next weekend. All right, there's that beach hazard statement I was talking about a little bit earlier. Today through Saturday evening. Just don't turn your back to the ocean. Sneaker waves are very dangerous. They can sneak up on you. That's why they're called that, because you're hanging out at the beach, it looks calm, everything's great, and then suddenly, boom, that big rush of water comes in, sweeps you off your feet, and you fall into the ocean. And it can sweep you into the ocean. If you're rock hopping, it's even more dangerous, because you know how jagged and those rocks can be on the coast. It's not a very safe situation. So just be aware of that here for at least the first half of the weekend. Those wave heights, about 8 feet. That's one of the contributing factors. We have those high swells, and then of course eventually translates to those sneaker waves coming in. But I do expect those weaker waves as we go into Saturday afternoon, and not to mention into your Sunday. Northeast winds at 5 to 10 knots, waves from the north at 4 feet, that is, at about 7 seconds, and from the northwest at 6 feet at 14 seconds. Check this out. Sunrise this morning, 7:25, sunset, 7:25. Exactly 12 hours of daylight. Still not officially vernal equinox, though. The vernal equinox is when you have the equal amount of daylight, but it depends on your latitude. As you get closer to the equator, that's when you have that better chances. But so sometimes you kind of see it a little bit earlier, or sometimes a little bit later, depending on your latitude. All right, let's go and take a look at what we've got going on here with your temperatures for today. This may advance, we'll see. 72 degrees for Reddings, there, yeah. The buttons sometimes just don't want to work properly for me. I'm going to take you back. There you go. 72 degrees for Cottonwood, 73 degrees for Chico and Oroville, 56 in Susanville, 55 for Alturas. There you can see temperatures in the low to mid 60s here for Trinity County. Look at that. I mean, some of those coastal locations getting the upper 60s, maybe even around 70 for that daytime high. Absolutely gorgeous. So here's your 7-day outlook, region by region, taking a look at the valley. Breezy conditions. Temperatures peaking on Sunday and then slowly dropping as we go into the end of next week. Now, again, I've included that chance for showers as early as Thursday, but I think better chances coming in toward the end of next week. All right, let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for the North Coast. And there you can see, of course, the dry conditions here all the way through Wednesday. Temperatures for the coast will peak today. And then we'll probably see a bit more marine. See how I've got more clouds in there? That might even be mostly cloudy. It just depends on how much of that marine layer that moves in. But it kind of gives you an idea that we're going to start to kind of moderate those temperatures a bit. However, inland, you see how the temperatures kind of peak on Sunday, Monday, and then drop. That's the same situation here for Weaverville as well. So it's just the coast that's not going to see that trend upwards after today. Everywhere else will, though. As you can see here, upper 60s for Mount Shasta, Alturas in the mid 60s, Susanville in the mid to upper 60s as well. So some absolutely gorgeous weather in store for us, especially as we go into the weekend. I mean, we really honestly couldn't ask for a better weekend. I mean, just gorgeous. So I say get out there and enjoy it. And that's the thing. I mean, how many of you have plans? What are your big plans here for the weekend? I'd love to hear what you got going on here. But overall, I just think it's going to be a great weekend to get out there and enjoy. I'm going to show you another image here that we got from one of our viewers here. John Purvis sent this image here. Beautiful shot here. This is from McDowell. Let's get you over there. There you can see that. So want to thank John for sending in that image. Yeah, and if you think about it, let me know what you're doing this weekend. If not, maybe we'll talk about it as we go into early next week. So that is going to do it for us this morning, folks. Kind of quick, but kind of quick and easy sometimes here as we take a look at the forecast here and kind of get you ready for the weekend. Hopefully you do have a good weekend out there, everyone. I'm going to leave you with some photos. I'm going to leave you with some cameras, and we will see you on Monday for Coffee with Krueger, bright and early at 6:30 in the morning.